outlook for the House after this being the sixth time we've passed school choice.
Breaking news at the Capitol: an education savings accounts bill is a step closer to becoming law. The Texas Senate's message tonight to members of the House where previous efforts have failed.
What if you suspected a crime had been committed against your child at school and it was caught on camera, but the district said you couldn't view the video? Well, that policy exists across Central Texas. KXAN investigates, coming up.
Skies are mostly clear for now, but the theme from this week continues, and the gray will fill back in by the time we start tomorrow morning. We'll show you some big changes to the weekend forecast and rain on the way in First Warning Weather.
And we start with breaking news tonight. The Texas Senate approved the bill to create education savings accounts.
Now, this is one of Governor Greg Abbott's top priorities that he declared an emergency item this legislative session. Under Senate Bill 2, families could receive $10,000 a year per student for tuition at an accredited private school. Children with disabilities would get $11,500. Homeschoolers could get $2,000 per student, and homeschooled children with disabilities could receive $2,500 a year for therapy. Now, this is all taxpayer dollars.
And Senate Democrats raised some concerns before the vote, including whether the program will segregate the state's education system and whether the bill helps low-income families.
Everybody won't be able to go to a private school, y'all. Please understand, the public school will close and the communities will fail.
And Senator Brandon Creighton, the author of the bill, was unwavering on the Senate floor that this bill will not hurt public schools.
This bill does not jeopardize public schools. In fact, the data shows that public schools have gotten better in other states that have expanded school choice.
And the bill goes on to the House where previous efforts have failed. Lawmakers say there is enough support this legislative session. Currently, there is no version of the bill filed in the House.
Financial struggles for Central Texas school districts continue. Now, some will close schools, and today Leander ISD announced it will cut teaching positions.
And that's not all. Nabil Ramana has been on the story. And Nabil, what exactly does this mean for the district?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of districts around the state here dealing with some of those deficits. A lot here in Central Texas. Eanes ISD, a perfect example of one that had to close a school down. And now we're seeing even more cuts to the teacher position in Leander ISD.
$34 million. That's a projected deficit for Leander ISD next school year.
This is not the way that it should be. We should not be in this position.
The district announced on Wednesday that it will have to cut a number of positions, including teachers.
Most of those cuts have to come out of personnel. And so we announced close to $16 million worth of revenue reductions.
The proposal from the district shows student-to-teacher ratios would increase in all grade levels following the move. And a closer look from the district shows about 68 teaching positions that would be cut, those in high school, which would equal about $4.5 million in savings.
We haven't had any increase in funding from the state, as you know, in public schools since 2019. In that time in Leander ISD, for both the school district and our families, we've seen an inflation of somewhere around 22%.
To address this crisis, we have to give every available dollar that can go to public education to our public schools. But that's not what Greg Abbott's doing.
Texas House Representative James Tallarico, a former teacher himself, saying the push for what Governor Greg Abbott calls education savings is a problem.
That will take even more money out of our neighborhood schools.
Texas must be number one in educating our children.
During the State of the State address this past weekend, Governor Abbott declared education savings accounts as a priority emergency item.
We're going to continue to fully fund our schools, as well as provide teachers with a pay raise. We can do that while also giving parents the choice they deserve.
As for the districts that are having to make cuts, all eyes will be on the Capitol.
We have to fund public schools.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
And we asked Leander ISD if any administrators' salaries could also be cut to help deal with the district's budget crunch. We were told we would need to formally request that information.
Today, President Donald Trump signed an executive order blocking transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. The order is titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, and the White House officials, they claim the order aims to protect women's access to safe and fair athletic opportunities. Critics say the executive order will lead to discrimination.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
Check out this, a sure sign that spring is around the corner in Page, Texas, in Bastrop County. Hey, the first photo we've seen of a bluebonnet here this year so far. If you've got some starting to pop up where you are, feel free to send us an email, report it at KXAN.com. We certainly appreciate that photo. Temperatures outside right now are in the low 70s in Austin and our eastern counties, mixed in with some 60s throughout the majority of the rest of Central Texas. So it's another warm night. While skies for now are mostly clear, we do expect those low clouds will start to build back in overnight and keep our temperatures from dropping a lot and eventually give way to a gray start to the day tomorrow. Morning temperatures begin at 64. That's what you'll be stepping out into tomorrow, under a cloudy sky with some areas of drizzle as well. So we'll keep this clouds to sun pattern on repeat at least for a few more days. Let's update you on a big temperature change that we've made to part of the weekend forecast before cooler and wetter weather is on track for next week.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Governor Abbott was in Washington today and met with President Trump at the White House to discuss border security. This after years of Texas using its own resources to militarize the border and curb illegal crossings. Texas spent $11 billion on Operation Lone Star, and the governor has since requested the federal government compensate Texas for the program. The governor says Texas's efforts have seized more than 600 million deadly doses of fentanyl.
None of us know, and we'll never know, how many lives were saved because of Texas law enforcement getting that fentanyl off the streets before it got into other states, killing people across the country.
And we have more details on the governor's meeting with the president over on KXAN.com.
Another federal judge issued a ruling today to temporarily block President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for anyone born in the U.S. to someone in the country illegally.
U.S. District Judge in Maryland, Deborah Boardman, said the court will not be the first to endorse the Trump administration's interpretation of the 14th Amendment. 2 weeks ago, another federal court also issued a ruling blocking the president's order for 14 days.
The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force arrested a man in connection with Monday's homicide near Barton Springs. Austin police say Arthur Robert Richter was arrested in Temple, Texas. APD says it happened Monday afternoon at a parking lot off AZ Morton Road near Barton Springs Creek. Police say Richter assaulted 64-year-old James Huff and took his phone, then returned to his vehicle. Huff climbed on the hood of Richter's car to try and get his phone back, but that's when police say Richter took off and then slammed on his brakes, throwing Huff off the car. And police say the fall killed Huff. Richter has been booked on a first-degree murder charge. A former Austin ISD teacher is facing a felony charge after police say he unlawfully restrained a first grader at Riley Elementary School. KXAN investigator Kelly Wiley found the school district is using a legal exception to keep the boy's parents from viewing the video that caught the alleged incident.
Records show AISD is not the only district using state statute to keep parents in the dark.
Last September, Diana Briggs found herself at her son's school asking for a video. She says the night before, her 6-year-old told her an upsetting story, that his teacher trapped him behind their classroom door and pushed into it with his weight, something she shared with the district and police.
I'm thinking about what my son experienced, what our son experienced, and, that it wasn't there to protect him.
There was a video showing what happened, and at the urging of her principal, Briggs says she made a public information request to view the hallway footage.
I talked to the campus police officer who told me that they would have it ready. They just needed to redact the other children's faces. Open Records told me, oh, if the video footage isn't outside and it's in the hallway, we'll be able to get that to you within a few days. My vice principal, my principal tell me, kept asking me, have you seen it yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't seen it. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to see it any day now.
But nearly 2 weeks later, Briggs got an email from the district saying it was denying her request. Records show Austin ISD then wrote to the Texas Attorney General's office, citing an exception to the state's Public Information Act, giving the district the choice to withhold the video if it believes releasing it could interfere with an active criminal investigation.
How am I going to interfere with this investigation? You know, like, do you understand, like, that it's part of the process of us getting our son help to be able to tell like a mental health provider, this is exactly what happened because we saw it with our own eyes.
In response to our team and in an email to Briggs, the district said it was following an internal police department policy. It turns out other school districts across Central Texas have similar policies. Several told us they will withhold videos and other records from parents at law enforcement's request.
The parents should be an exception to that. It makes no sense why we shouldn't be. Like, it was our child that was involved.
Education attorney Martin Cirkiel says parents are an exception, not only under the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, but also under the Texas Public Information Act, which gives parents a special right of access.
If I want to ask information about you, I may not get it. If I want to ask information about myself or my kid, I'm supposed to get it under the Open Records Act anyway. The information where, once again, this is a video of my child being abused.
Austin ISD declined multiple interview requests. After our questions, the district said it reviewed its policy, but does not plan to change it at this time because they believe it preserves the integrity of investigations. In a statement to KXAN, district officials said, in the past, we have had families publicly release videos that are a part of an open investigation. When cases are judged in the court of public opinion, that can jeopardize how the case ultimately gets prosecuted.
They had told us, once the investigation is over, you will be able to view the video once it is not an active investigation.
When the teacher at the center of the case was arrested and charged with unlawful restraint in October 2024, the Briggs family thought that time had finally come.
It's not an active investigation anymore. Allow me and my husband to come see the video.
But once again, records show the district denied their request, this time saying the case is now pending in court, and the district believes the records are still confidential. The district added, "We're unsure of how long the case will be prosecuted for, but after the case is closed in court, you can make another request."
What? Multiple people told me, I watched this video 40 times. I watched this video 100 times. I can't believe he did what he did. Multiple. Have you seen the video yet? Okay, well, once you see it, you're gonna have a lot of feelings. It should be something that they want to just provide to us, to help this student, right?
Records show Austin ISD sent 3 letters to the Office of Attorney General over the Briggs' request, all of them asking whether the district was right to withhold the video because of the ongoing investigation and then prosecution. In at least one response from the AG, state attorneys said that they weren't going to issue an opinion one way or the other because the district had not provided all the relevant information. This case, though, is still under review by the AG. We also reached out to the teacher who is no longer with the district and his attorney. So far, they have not commented on the record. In Austin, Kelly Wiley, KXAN Investigates.
Kelly, thank you very much. If you're wondering why we did not name the teacher in our report, we chose to instead focus on the policy at Austin ISD and surrounding school districts. But we will be following his case, which is still in the court process.
And meanwhile, Texas lawmakers have already filed several bills addressing a parent's right to records involving their children. Among those, Senator Bob Hall filed SB 112 to ensure school districts are not able to withhold information from parents despite the nature of the record. And Representative Synfronia Thompson filed House Bill 728 to require school districts to respond faster once parents ask to view video of their children. Both measures are awaiting a committee hearing. Online right now on KXAN.com under the Investigates tab, explore our digital story and the data we obtained showing how often video footage was released by Austin ISD and when it wasn't.
All right, this time last night, we had a cold front just north of us. That has since lifted north as a warm front, allowing more of Texas to feel the 60s and 70s, although still parts of the state in the 50s now. That warm front well to the north of us, not really having an impact on our weather locally a ton because we were already on the warm side of the front yesterday. We'll be dropping into the mid-60s tomorrow morning. Not warming a ton between 9 and noon, low 70s by noon, and then the sun comes out around midday into the afternoon, and then we jump up to 80 and then slowly fall back down again. The air is still pretty humid over much of the state. Anytime the dew point is 60 or above, you feel the stickiness, and we continue to feel that moisture getting driven into Central Texas from the Gulf to the south and southeast of us. And that trend is going to continue to result in a lot of widespread cloudiness and some patches of drizzle tomorrow morning. Through the middle of the day, we'll start seeing breaks of sun and then a lot of sun tomorrow afternoon. Way more sun tomorrow afternoon than what we had today. At least it comes out earlier than it did today. Then the clouds come back for Friday morning, eventually giving way to sunshine in the afternoon. Still the chance for some drizzle, but temperatures both afternoons jumping into the 80s. So we'll go with 80 tomorrow, morning clouds and drizzle, afternoon sun and warm and a little breezy, and then a warming trend underway. 83 Friday, 88 Saturday, both mornings with the clouds, both afternoons very sunny, and that 88 would be a record high on Saturday. But if you haven't checked in with us here much today, big temperature change for what we're expecting now on Sunday. Still expecting a cold front early in the morning, but not as much cold drops into Central Texas as we thought yesterday. So we're now going for a much warmer forecast on Sunday, a partly sunny day and a high of 78. The humidity is still going to drop a lot from Saturday to Sunday. We'll go from muggy to comfy for the second half of the weekend, but the temperature drop will not be quite as significant, although it will still get cooler as we head through next week. We're still on track for some showers Monday, showers and storms on Tuesday, and a few more showers on Wednesday. The rainfall totals do not look significant yet. Quarter inch to an inch for most of us and quarter inch or less in the hill country. But rain is rain, right? And we'll take every drop we can get. There's that record high on Saturday. 78 on Sunday and partly sunny. Showers and mid-60s on Monday. Then another cold front brings a reinforcing shot of colder air, knocking us to 60 on Tuesday, 58 on Wednesday. Still our nighttime lows staying well above freezing.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Hi, good evening. Another late start for the Longhorns, and this one is still going on. Texas and Arkansas, first conference game between these two schools since 1991. Texas, just like their last home game against the Aggies, dig themselves into a huge hole, down 23 points in the second half. They have fought back, but down by 6 inside, make that down by 7 inside of a minute to go. So they'll need a bit of a miracle here to pull this one off on the road again this Saturday. After this one, they were trying to get to 500 or are trying to get to 500 in the conference. Now they've got to go to Vanderbilt on Saturday, see how it finishes maybe by the end of the newscast. UT women will take on Vanderbilt tomorrow night at Moody. This is a Longhorn team coming off a win over the Aggies, and now they head into a stretch of 4 ranked opponents, 2 in the top 10. Vanderbilt with one of the highest scoring players in the country. So with this stretch, with the likes of a South Carolina and LSU looming, does Vic Schaefer allow he or his team to even think about kind of that big picture over the next week and a half?
They probably do that on their own. So, you know, I don't really want to give them any room for that. Again, when you start looking ahead and you start thinking past what's right in front of you, which is practice today, I've never been a coach that gets ahead. And I won't, you know, almost to a fault in an NCAA tournament when you might have a first-round opponent and you know you're going to win or you should win and you should win by 50 and all that. I still don't start looking at that second opponent. I just don't. I don't allow myself to do that.
Well, today is actually National Signing Day for football. I don't hear much about it because most of the work is done in December. In fact, all the Longhorn work done in December. And now, after today is in the books, Texas does have the #1 ranked signing class in the country. Of course, as all coaches say, check back in a couple of years and see how that compares to the rankings now. All right, new era for the Spurs as De'Aaron Fox traded on Sunday to San Antonio, makes his debut in Atlanta. And Well, he was silky smooth, like he's been playing with him for a while. Knocks down the three right there. That's his first bucket as a Spur. And then that little pull-up. He's got so many moves. In fact, he had 17 points in the first half, but then things get dicey. Their big lead evaporates before Wemby gets the bucket on the follow, and then Trae Young, 2 of his 32. This game is tied. Spurs have it just over 8. Wemby looking for the big hammer. Instead, he gets fouled. They did review it, but it was a foul, so Wembanyama has to knock down some free throws, or free throw. Hits one. Doesn't want to give Atlanta a chance with the ball out of bounds, so he intentionally misses. Still, Trae Young gets a dribble and a lean in, but off the mark, so the Spurs get the win tonight in Atlanta. And out on the West Coast, Austin FC preseason matchup against LA Galaxy. MLS Cup winners last year. Danny Pereira right here hammers this one, but a great save. And Austin FC would get the equalizer in the second half. They were down 1-0. Owen Wolf doing his thing, making some plays, and Osman Bukhari gets the header, tied at 1. Don't forget to go to KXAN.com for more sports.